Hello Tacticians, the next character coming to Tacticus very soon is Tyrith, the Custodian Guard, and this isn't the first time she's appeared in pixelated form. She originally appears in The Tithes, episode 2 on Warhammer TV, so if you want to find out more about the lore of this character, I can highly recommend going to watch that. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or using my friend code, as it really does help me out. So, what does Tyrith bring to Tacticus? Well, she starts off, unsurprisingly, as an Adeptus Custodes. She has the same Martial Kata skill, which means normal attacks against her will deal less damage, and she'll deal more damage against summons. And finally, she is also resilient, and that is a trait which shouldn't be taken too lightly, as it is needed in quite a few legendary events. And to be honest, if you're attacked and left on 1 health, if they can't do that final bit of damage, she is gonna take out some holy retribution on her attackers. She will unlock at rare rarity, and she comes with a power melee attack and bolter ranged attack. The Custodes don't have any ranged attacks, so she is the first one to have it, so let's see what else she provides in terms of her skills. Her active skill is Vigilance Eternal, where she will target an enemy unit that is a free adjacent hex within a movement range of 2, or is already on a hex adjacent to Tyrith. She will then move to that free hex and deal power damage to the targeted unit. And like many other Custodes, this can be used multiple times per battle, but it does have a cooldown of 2 rounds. So, in theory, if you were to use a full Custodes team, you'd be able to have a Custodes using an active ability every turn of the battle. The very cool thing is this doesn't end Tyrith's turn, so she can move an attack and then move an attack again. Her passive ability is the Unwavering Sentinel. During each enemy turn after Tyrith is attacked, and the attacker is within range of 2, she will deal bolter damage back to the attacker. Think a bit like how Sarkwell works, but more than once. If there is an enemy adjacent to Tyrith, the range of this ability is then reduced to 1. So it does mean if she is in combat and somebody shoots at her, she won't be able to shoot back. These skills sound very good on paper, but let's have a look at them on the battlefield. So let's start by using my favourite test. Can she withstand an Overwatch shot from Calandis? There was a crit there, and to be honest, that's not terrible. I have seen her slightly lower on health from a bigger crit, and I've also seen her slightly higher as well. And Tyrith isn't finished. I mean, yes, we could just shoot, but why do that when we've got Vigilance Eternal, which lets us move some more? And if that wasn't enough, we can still follow up with an attack. Not too shabby. But the big question is, if she was to use Vigilance Eternal first, can she still move afterwards? So now let's see what would happen if we used Vigilance Eternal first. And as you can see, we are still free to move and perform another attack. So whichever way you go, it's worthwhile remembering that she can effectively attack twice in 1 turn, as long as she has that active available. And this is something you are really going to have to pay attention to in those TAs when you have summons already on your side, as she could literally use them to move twice to get to your characters. So overall, my initial impressions of this character is she's actually very good, at least from a PvP point of view. So what about her passive? How does that actually work? Well, if we were to target her with Calandis, she isn't within range 2 and therefore won't be shooting back. However, we attack with Rayvas and there's the return fire. Now, the other question, I suppose, is what if we have someone else and she attacks again? Now, admittedly, there is suppression there, so she didn't do too much damage, but every time she is attacked from range, as long as the enemy is within her range, she will return fire. Which again is very cool, but bear in mind, if they're shooting you that much, you're going to be left on virtually no health, and well, there are no healers on the Adeptus Custodes team to heal you back up. But at least in your turn, you'll be able to exact some revenge with a double attack. Again, as long as your active is available. And finally, if you do finally get her to Mythic, she has access to the Paragon Spear, which really steps her up just a tad, because all of her hits that are crits deal the maximum possible damage, which in itself is pretty damn good. And at the beginning of Tyrith's turn, she'll attack a random enemy within range 2, dealing bolter damage to them. However, if there's an adjacent enemy to her, that range is reduced to 1, so she'll be attacking people in combat. That is a very cool relic, and if you do get her this far, I would recommend wholeheartedly getting that. Although I don't think anyone would be getting her that far that quickly. Maybe. So my opinion of this character, she is going to be great in the legendary events. She's going to be formidable in certain PvP events, especially if your enemy has some uncontrollable summons, which, well, she will put them in their place. And as such, I would recommend everyone to try and unlock her at that minimum of rare 1. From a PvP perspective, whether that's guild raids, your tournament arena, or even just the normal arena, she is going to be great. From a guild raid perspective, not so much. She simply doesn't have the kit to challenge any of the existing powerhouses in guild raids, so you won't be using her there. And as a final character to the Custodes, well, I think a lot of us were hoping for the Terminators that they have, but I'll tell you what, I think they did a very good job here.